10 books that will radically transform your life just like they've transformed my life. 10 of my all-time favorite books. And if you love this video, smash that like button. Helps the algorithm. I'll do more book videos in the future, give you guys reading lists, tell you what I'm into, what I've read in the past that have helped me spiritually, mentally, financially, emotionally, all of the things. I got 10 of my all-time favorite books right here. Remember, we're in this together. Let's roll. So many of these books are very spiritual in nature. They're very new thought formation books. They're very get rid of the old patterns, the old programs, stepping into the newest, highest version of who you are. So my whole life, I have been infatuated with understanding what it means to be a super being, what it means to be a guide for other people, what it means to be fully activated. If you've been watching my channel for any time, you know that I've been the juice guy. I've helped people with their physical bodies, drinking copious amounts of superfood, or as I like to call it, liquid light, raising their vibration through the power of nutrition. And one thing that is so important in my life is waking up early in the morning, usually around, like I said in the past, 4 o'clock, sometimes 5, depending on the day. And I wake up and I read. I insert new programs in my brain. And this is important to know. Whatever you're reading, make sure you're reading it as if you're going to do something with it afterwards. This helps you shuttle it into long-term memory storage. In fact, in the first 20 to 30 minutes of the day, our theta brain waves help shuttle in more information into our long-term memory storage. So there's theta and alpha states of brain waves. So I love to read first thing in the morning. I drink about 32 ounces of water with apple cider vinegar. Maybe you've seen my water video that I have on YouTube. I drink a little coffee with some L-theanine about 45 minutes after I wake up. That helps the learning algorithm in my own brain even more. Now that you know how to learn with intent. Learn with the understanding that you are going to teach another person today. Make sure whatever you read that day, you're educating somebody else, because that's going to help you learn it more effectively. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the 10 books. So my life is very synchronistic, and it's set up in a way to where whatever I think it is manifested, my friend. And John Randolph Price wrote a book called Superbeings. You can tell I've probably read this a dozen times, but he actually goes into the way super beings on the planet operate on a day-to-day basis. How their thinking is different than the mundane TikTok society that we live in. So super beings are no longer bounded by the ills, the ups and downs, the turbulent society that we live in. They kind of create their own way. They're in charge of their own life. They see things well in advance before they happen. And when you're in the presence of a super being, it is like a giant shadow of protection. Everywhere you go, you feel protected. You feel like God is on your side. And it is very much the truth. So super beings can help open up your eyes to more of that invisible plane, more of that unified field that's all around you that sometimes you don't get access to, and help you step into that new version of who you are on the planet at this time. So this would be not in any particular order, but I love John Randolph Price's works. I probably have 8 of his books, read them all, easy to understand, easy to read. If you're into new thought formation, if you're into personal development, making better decisions, then Randolph Price is a really good author. Next up, my friend, this book's pretty powerful, Beyond the Siddhis, okay? And basically what John McAfee states in this book is there's, I think, 14 different superpowers that we have as human beings that we don't access because we're so stuck in the third density. So he breaks it down for you. And it's all based on ancient teachings of the Siddhis, I believe, or the Siddhis. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, you guys, but it's super, super powerful. As you can tell, I've marked this book up completely. He talks about astral projection in here. He talks about attachments, how they can anchor us down into the third density, how to break free. Super sensory, so developing your senses beyond the 5 senses that we have as human beings. He talks about it in here. He basically breaks down, I believe, this ancient text. One quote sums this book up, and it's by Friedrich Nietzsche. He says, "I teach you the Superman. Man is something to be surpassed." So he's teaching you how to be superhuman in this book, and it's small. I chose books that are really easy to read and digestible for you, especially the first 2 that I wanted to show you. You can build up willpower and motivation the more small books you read, and then you can start to get in bigger ones. Next up, Iron John. Now this is a classic by Robert Bly. If you've had any trauma like me in my life, It teaches you all about it. I think even some schools have young men read this. And it's important because it is one of the books my psychologist read that I was working with a psychologist for like 5 years. And this is the first book that he ever had me read. And it opened up my mind to a lot of the emotional turbulences I was going through in different relationships, how to see myself, how to use emotional intelligence in those relationships. Robert Bly is actually one of the foremost leaders of the divine masculine movement. So we see a lot of guys like David Data today. We see peeps popping up all over the place helping men. Robert Bly is like the OG of that stuff. So definitely check out this book if you're in any of that men's work, if you're looking for a good book to help you become more masculine and anchored in that power. Next up, Psycho-Cybernetics, y'all. This book changed my life. I've read it multiple times. This is all about your image, the image that you hold about yourself. And it's based on this plastic surgeon who realized that no matter how many surgeries he was doing on people, if their self-worth muscle, if their ability to look in the mirror and really love themselves didn't shift, then they would never break out of depression, anxiety, fear, these different emotions that are so prevalent on our earth today. So Psycho-Cybernetics teaches you to retrain your brain to have more compassion, to have more self-worth, to have a better image of who you really are. And this book absolutely changed my life. I had the whole company read it at Organifi. Maxwell, Maltz. So everybody on the Organifi team read this. It's definitely a grade A+ book. It'll bring much more peace into your life. We're gonna start getting a little out there, okay? Some of these are a little woo-woo. I hope you're okay with that. I read this recently, actually, and it's so simple and it makes so much sense. It's called the Lemurian Way. And this is how the Lemurians, this ancient civilization that pre-existed before us, raised their kids, had how their marriages worked, how relationships worked, how they ran their businesses. I don't believe this is a past civilization. I actually believe this is a future civilization that has kind of gone through some of the turbulences that we've seen in society today. So this is the Lemurian Way. It's by Lauren O. Thyme. Lauren, if you're watching this, thanks for this book. Short, simple, you guys. You can sit down and read this in an hour and a half and get all types of cool information. Next up, Neville Goddard. This is the OG personal development, thought ascension. This guy right here, Neville Goddard, I think he was an author in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He's written many good books. One of the things that I've learned from Neville in my life is that the feeling is the secret. We've all seen the video, The Secret, back in the day. It's like thoughts become things. Not really. It's actually the feeling, it's the heart, the electromagnetic frequency that your heart puts out in the universe that pulls it back, the reticular activation system of the mind that goes forth into superconscious, bringing those people that you need to connect with back into your field so that you can connect with them, because feeling is the secret. When you're feeling it in your heart, like the Hopi Indians back in the day, they would go out and put their hands in the dirt and they would feel the water and the dirt, even though it hadn't rained in 30 days. And then all of a sudden it would rain. We're talking about weather manipulation. We're talking about changing the environment, changing the third dimension. And you can do that through the power of feeling, as Neville instructs in all of his books. I would recommend getting the Reader. This is every single one of Neville Goddard's books. Right here, the complete reader. Check it out, it's like 10 bucks. I'll leave links to all these books below as well. Next up, the complete work of Wallace Wattles. This guy's the OG, way before, actually right around the same time as Napoleon Hill. I love the book Think and Grow Rich. I love the book Outwitting the Devil, you guys. If you're really looking to increase your ability to create abundance in this lifetime, then The Science of Getting Rich is by far the best book I've ever read in regards to turning formless substance into form. It's really simple. It's absolutely brilliant. You could get The Science of Getting Rich, which is about this thick, short book. Read it in like an hour. Read it a dozen times, especially if you're broke. If you're experiencing financial hardship, Science of Getting Rich, period. If you're looking for a little bit more, The Science of Being is awesome as well. And every single one of his books is in here. The complete book, Wallace Wattles, right here. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole, these next two, okay? And then I'm gonna finish with something so simple that you're gonna love it. Read it to your kids, it'll change your life. This is the Golden Book of Melchizedek. So this book has taught me that we have so many veils up, so many illusionary constructs as human beings. And we let go of these third density limitations and we step into being the super being, like Randolph talks about. But this actually gives you the instructions on how to do it, how to live like the Buddha, how to live like the Christ. because you are. Inside of you is the God force waiting to come out. And when you step into it and you read books like this, you realize that there is a way that can be made. But when you're buying into the illusion of all this dogma of the past, and you're anchoring yourself into a belief system that is so archaic, then you'll never get to the fourth and the fifth. You'll never be free. And I believe books like this help us be free as humans. And I'm so glad that I'm actually sharing this on YouTube. I never thought I would share this on YouTube, just because some people may look at this and be like, that's an occultic book, that's this, that's that. All I need is the Bible. I get it, guys. And one thing in my life that has served me very well is to be able to reinvent my belief system, the limited beliefs that I have from wherever I am, the narrative that I'm creating in my life, for something much greater that not only serves me, but every single human being around me with love, compassion, joy, faith, all of these high vibratory things. And this book has radically transformed my life. I think the book's like 20 bucks. Dr. Joshua David Stone, maybe I'll interview this guy on the podcast that I'm creating right now, and you guys can check him out there too. I told you we're going real woo-woo, real deep, and it's just gonna get better and better, you guys. There's books that I have in here, like the Tao Te Ching, like the Bible, like different religious scriptures. There was 300 gospels written outside the original doctrine, I believe, that were in the Bible. The Gospel of Thomas I have in here. There's so many books that carry such a high vibration and frequency that I like to put them in the bedroom at night, sleep with them, calling my subconscious to go into the books, show me things of the past. And this is one I've used so many times, and I just feel its presence. This is the Book of Knowledge, the Keys of Enoch. And there's keys in here that are broken down. He's calling on, the art in here is absolutely insane, as you guys can see. And in reading this, it just elevates who you are. A lot of it is forming your Merkaba. So getting present enough to, number one, dream time. Number two, create your astral body. And then three, starting to connect with your higher body, your Merkaba. And this is the first book I've ever read that actually breaks it down that way. Older book. This one was expensive. I think this copy was about 200 bucks. So if you're looking for something to elevate, take your life to the next level, dude, check this out. You can feel it. You feel the energy in this book? I know you do. Like, feeling the energy, baby. Next up, I wanted to close out with this book because I think this is the secret to my life and what has given me all the success and abundance and the love and joy that I have. And it allowed me to really step into my purpose as a human. And it's a kid's book. And it's a book that reminds me of one of my mentors. You've heard me talk about him in the past, Frank Scheidler. And this book right here by Shel Silverstein, I know many of you are gonna be like, that's my favorite kid's book too. If it is, smash that like button. Let's get more people watching empowering, conscious rising videos like this. This book is called The Giving Tree, my friend. And it's so good. It's so simple. It's the story of a young man who would go to this tree every day, and he loved the tree so much until something switched in his life. And when that thing switched in his life, he realized the secret to life. And I'm gonna leave it at that. No spoiler alert, okay? You gotta check out the book. Read this to your kids. Read it every single day. This book transformed my life, and it can for you too. It's called The Giving Tree, and it's by Shel Silverstein. It's awesome. It's so good, so simple. You can read it in like 10 minutes. All these books, all these links will be below, you guys. I'm a voracious reader. I've read over 1,000 books in my life. I continue to read, and the older I get, the more I realize that there's a library in every living thing. And when we're silent enough to listen to it, the information that we can get is so very powerful. So don't just read, don't just consume knowledge to gain more knowledge. Knowledge will make you heavy. And if you want to fly, it takes wisdom. And to get wisdom, that's in the silence, that's in the listening, that's in the meditation, that's in the practice of being presently aware, where you go outside and you're just the observer. Because the more you do that, the more it's going to impact your life all around. I'm living proof of that. But if you are looking for amazing books over Netflix, things that can enhance who you are, and I'm not saying there's any bad, like all the shows on Netflix are bad. I'm just saying when you invest your time into reading books filled with scriptures of our ancestors, it can do wondrous works for your mentality, for your life, on every level, and it's awesome. So, big thumbs up, leave a comment below, let me know which one you'd add to the list. I'm Drew Canoli. Remember, we're in this together, and I'll see you soon.